So based on that, we should build a $1.7 million building to continue doing this type of stuff. So the claim is what? We should build. And what's the evidence he was using to back this up? Okay, we're church family. Okay, help each other raise kids. Good. What else? What else is evidence? And because of that, it says potential for influence in major ways in this country. Got lofty claims. However, this is the claim. Build the building. I want you to build the building, and here's the evidence to back this up. If you're basing your argument on the fact that we're a small church, but you're saying we need to get huge, don't those contradict? Yes. Exactly. But if you're sitting there listening critically, you notice those things. Well, this doesn't make a bit of sense. It doesn't really apply. It doesn't back up this claim. However, if you're not listening critically, if you've bought in, you just say, okay, and you listen, and you just go with it. You have to make sure that your evidence, if you want to have strong credibility, you need to have evidence that really backs up what you are saying. So use evidence, use novel evidence, use either new evidence or use old evidence in a new way. We've talked about the smoking commercials, where we've all heard time and time again, you should stop smoking. Here's why. This is what it does to your lungs. Here's how many people a year it kills. We've heard those. And if somebody were to tell us today those numbers, we would just let it float on by because we've heard it, right? What are those television commercials where they show the people outside the tobacco industry building, and they're holding signs, they're all wearing a white T-shirt? Have you all seen these commercials? And then just at once, they all fall down.
Oh, yeah,
and they're all laid out there on the pavement, on the sidewalk.
This could happen to you.
And then somebody stands up with either like a bullhorn or a sign that says, like, so many people per minute or second die from tobacco-related cancer. It's this powerful way. It's the same information, right? But it's powerful because they present it in a novel way. Make sure your sources are credible. And then again, make sure your evidence points back to the claim you are making. Let's look at reasoning here. There's some reasoning examples or information in your textbook. There are a couple different ways to reason with your audience. Sometimes your audience, you don't want to stereotype here, but when you look at your audience, you have to think, will this audience be more persuaded by reasoning, or will they be more persuaded by emotion? We'll look at emotion here in a little bit, but some people, you can show them all the facts and figures, and they buy in. They don't want to see puppy dogs and three-legged dogs and those types of things, or hungry children. They want to see the numbers, right? However, there are some people, you can show them all the numbers and really explain to them a hard line, but all you have to do is show them a sick puppy, and they just reach in their wallet, right? And they want to give money and those types of things. So some people are all one or all the other, but some people are a mix. Have some emotional attachment. You can really pull on my emotions a little bit, but you can also, I really need to be shown how this works out. So let's look at the kind of the logical side here, the reasoning. We're not going to go through these much here, but reasoning from a specific instance. We're going to take one case and say, because of this one case, I'm going to generalize to a larger audience. That's different from reasoning from principle, right? It's saying, because of this large audience is this way, and you're in that large audience, you are this way. So, we're going to say all college students oversleep every morning, if that were true. So then I would say, well, if that's true, well then Bobby oversleeps every morning. That's reasoning from a principle. We understand that what causal reasoning is, one thing causes another. We can prove that. In analogical reasoning, something is like something else. So again, we're not going to spend much time on this. However, sometimes we can get carried away with our reasoning, can't we? And if we're working so hard to prove a point, or to make ourselves look right, well then sometimes we can overstep our boundaries a little bit into what is called faulty reasoning or fallacies. There are a list of fallacies we're going to go over here, about 2 pages worth, about 8 of these. Maybe you're familiar with some of these. We're going to go pretty quickly. The first one is called hasty generalization. This is where I'm trying to prove to you that something happened maybe based on something else, and I'm going to say that it was true, even though I cannot prove it. Hasty, I'm generalizing about something because it's not true. I would say, let's say Bobby's yawning right now in class. Well, then based on that, every college student does not get enough sleep. I'm making that assumption about the overall general college population because she is tired today. That's a hasty generalization. I can't prove that, can I? Okay, a false cause. Saying something caused something else, when in fact it didn't. Let's say I went outside this morning to get in my car, and my windows were busted out, and some stuff's missing out of my car. And I look over in the yard, and I see a squirrel holding a nut in his hand. And I said, man, stinking squirrels broke into my car. Well, no, what happened? Probably somebody broke in, right? Okay, so that's false. It's a false cause. But sometimes we do that. We say something causes something else. Think about global warming. It's a theory, right? It's not necessarily a fact. It's a theory. Has it been hot lately? Yes, it's been hot lately. Is that because of global warming and emissions and those things? Not necessarily. Invalid analogy. You're making a comparison. You're not comparing apples to apples. You say this situation we're in right now is similar to this in the past. You think about when, and this happens with other presidential candidates as well, but you think about Barack Obama, when he was running for president, they compared him to who? What past presidents? Kennedy. Yeah, maybe some others. Is that a fair analogy? Is that a fair comparison? When you think about it, probably not. Probably not. Probably not. So you have to think, is that really a good comparison? We like to, and especially the media, really likes to hype these things up. He's the next JFK. Well, let's slow down a second. Look, let's look at the era he was in compared to the era we're in. Let's really look at apples to apples here. So, but we believe those, no, we fall for that because we're not paying close attention. We get caught up in that hype. Oh, great, he's the next JFK. Okay, this next one, red herring. It was in your quiz. What is red herring? Red herring is something I'm sure none of you have ever been guilty of. Red herring is where instead of answering a question that is asked of us, or really getting at the point we're trying to make, we try to throw up a flare of some kind that we hope will distract. This is called red herring. Here's an example. I'm sure this never happened to you, but let's just use your imagination here. Let's say you're in high school, and you want to go out with your friends on a Friday night. So you say, hey, Mom or Dad, I want to go out with my friends. And they say, okay, be home at 11 o'clock. So you go out with your friends, you start smashing mailboxes, you're getting drunk, toilet paper in people's yards, those types of things, saran wrap in people's cars, and you realize that it's a little bit past 11 o'clock. How do you feel right now? Not too good, right? You think,
I thought you said 11:30.
Was it 11:30? It was 11, daughter. It was 11. So
I heard something else.
So you realize you're already past curfew and you're about 20 minutes from home doing things you shouldn't be doing. So you rush back to your house. And you get there, and as you pull into the driveway, afraid you're going to be in trouble, you realize that every light in the house is off.
Leave the window open.
Even the porch lights off and all those things. So you're thinking, I'm going to get away with this, right? So you creep into the driveway, get out of your car, don't even close your car door, maybe you just kind of latch it just a little bit, maybe you just leave it open, and you walk up to the house, put your key in the door, turn it, quiet as you can, you walk in, close it behind you, lock it real quietly, you turn around, and who's waiting for you sitting on the couch? Mom or Dad, right? Yeah, so you all been there. And this mom or dad is going to ask you a question. What question will they ask? What time is it? Where have you been? What have you been doing? Okay, these are all good questions, all logical, realistic questions. Let's say your mom asks, what have you been doing?
You drunk then. You said they was drinking, so
So
their words gonna be slurred.
The truth is.
Smell alcohol.
Tell her. The truth is, you don't want to answer.